Hi and welcome. So, day three. What are we going to talk about today? Well, yesterday we talked about the things that have influenced you. And we're going to use those things, so the things that we discovered yesterday, we're going to use those today. And what we're going to do is we're going to take those things and we're going to start by attaching emotions to them. So you would have gone through all of your influences and you'll have like a list of all of these influences. And the idea is to start by just literally taking each of these influences that you had and just thinking of adjectives, thinking of things, of descriptions that best suit these, your influences. For example, things like, how did they make you feel? Did they make you feel cheerful, comfortable, delightful, energetic? Was it exciting? Was it generous? Things like this. Just go through each of your influences and just sort of make a list of things. And what we're doing there is we're slowly sort of anchoring emotions to experiences. Yeah. And that's important when you're thinking of designing your home, because your home is also it's an emotional expression of yourself, of who you are. Yeah, these are it's a very personal thing, and you want to be able to be thinking of the spaces that you want to create, that you want to live in. You want to be thinking of them in terms of emotions. How do you want to feel in this place? That gives it much more depth. It just gives it meaning. Instead of just having four walls and a door and a window, you want to think of these spaces really in terms of emotion. It's really important, and it'll add this depth to your conceptual thinking for your dream home. Now, you obviously, or most of you, won't be doing this alone. Most people, it's young couples, couples with young families, older couples. So what I'm trying to say is there'll be more than one of you sharing this space, and we've all had our own experiences. So the idea is for each of you to do this exercise. So each of you do this. Don't do it together. Do it separately. Go through your influences, write down your emotions to them. And when you've done that, you should look at them and see if things come up again. If there's like a theme there coming up, like if certain things are cheerful, are exciting, are friendly, are generous. If you've got these sort of same descriptions next to each of these influences, and these are the ones that are probably the more important ones, I would say. These are what I would call leaning towards your must-haves. The things that you really don't want to compromise on. For example, for me, I talked yesterday about my treehouse. So not taking it literally, I don't want to live in a treehouse, but so what is it about living? What is it about that treehouse? What were the emotions for me? So for me, the idea is, there's a sense of excitement there because you're elevated. You're looking. You have an overview. You feel safe. You're also, for me, it's very nurturing because you're in the nature. You're up in the tree canopies. So for me, things like safety, sanctuary, nature, and also the color, the color of nature, these natural colors, these are things that are important to me. So something for me that would be an absolute must-have would be, it would need to be, I would need to have the feeling that I'm connected to nature somehow. what else? Yeah, you know, natural materials. I mean, it's a bit cliched, but you know, the feel and the smell and the touch of wood is also something that would be a must-have for me. Yeah. So that's just a couple of examples. So when you're going through your influences, try not to don't think of them too literally. You know, think of delve into them a bit. You know, go delve into them and elaborate and let your imagination go wild a little bit, and then attach the emotions to these things. And you'll probably, I don't know, you've probably got a collection of maybe half a dozen or so, or maybe a dozen of these things, of these experiences, and then take the other ones. And these would be what I would then call the can have. So they, you know, it would be lovely to have them, but they're things that you could live without. You know, the must-haves are the ones you can't live without. These are the things that, you know, they're there to stay. They're not going to change. They're the bedrock of your conceptual blueprint. But then you've got the other ones, the can haves. Yeah. So for me, something like a can have, just as an example, this idea of I grew up by the ocean, so I love the sound of waves, the sound of the sea is something that for me is something very how would you call it? It's a very basic thing. It sort of goes right to my soul somehow. So I would love the idea of being within or hearing water or seeing it or the play of light. Yeah. So having water as a theme would be a can have. Another can have for me would be I love music, as you can see. So I would, you know, for me, it would be lovely to have the acoustics of certain rooms would be important to me. So these are things, but you know, these are things that I could live without. You know, I mean, I can just get myself a decent set of headphones, but obviously it would be much nicer to have a music room, a proper music room with a state-of-the-art sound system. So that's a luxury. If it's not in my budget, then I can do without it. So I hope that's given you a sort of a certain idea of what I mean by the must-haves and the can-haves. And again, do the can-haves separately, yeah, because what you then do, what you then for yourself, you found a few things, you found certain commonalities, and then the idea is obviously because you're going to be sharing this space. Is all the people who are going to be sharing this space should actually share what they've come up with each other, yeah. And the way I like to do this is one person speaks and one person listens without interrupting, and it's really important for the person listening to give the speaker their full attention, to focus on what you're hearing, really listen, yeah, and make mental notes, and try not to, don't get distracted by anything else going around, but just really give this person your fullest attention, yeah. Listen, take it in, and see what resonates with you when they're talking. Maybe they'll talk about things that you didn't think of, but hearing somebody else say it, yeah, you know, it lights you up a little bit. Yeah, and make little notes of these things, because the idea is, again, it's about finding commonalities. Yeah, so if you can find things where, you know, the things you guys have in common, you know, obviously that, you know, that's important, and that gives these experiences a weighting, you know. So I'm talking now about the can haves, yeah, because the must haves, you're going to have those, you know, and you're going to share those as well. And you know, you don't have to have the same must-haves. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have more than to maximum 3 must-haves each. Yeah, otherwise it'll become a little bit unrealistic. So there's also a discipline there. You know, narrow it down if you can to 1 or 2 each. Yeah, and share your must-haves as well. Share them, but the can-haves is more important for sharing, because there I think you want to be looking for things you have in common, because these are the things that you can let those go if for the other person, for the other people involved who are going to be sharing the space with you, if it's something that they really, it's not for them, then that's something you can consider letting go. So that's how we get the tactic. This is how we narrow down the things that we want to express, the things that we want to talk about, the things that we want to use to form our blueprint. So there's a lot of information there. I'll just quickly go through it again. Yeah. So we take the influences that we picked up the session before. So all the things that have influenced us through our life, we take each one of those and we attach emotions to them. We attach descriptions to them. And then what we do is we look for the ones that resonate with us the most, the ones, and we identify the things that we absolutely can't live without. These are the must-haves. We identify these, 1, 2, maximum 3 of these each. Yeah, you do this alone, separately. You then take the other influences and you look at those. These are the ones, the can-haves, and you prioritize those. So you literally make a list, a prioritized list of your can-haves. Yeah. And when you've got these can-haves, communicate those to whoever it is you're going to be sharing this space with. And communicate them openly. And also you as a receiver, you as the person listening to the other person. Listen without interrupting and without attaching any judgment to what your partners say. And then look for commonalities. Look for things that resonate with you while they're speaking. And then when you've both done that, then just have just share, go into a dialogue with each other and just talk about your experiences and how it was and what came up and what's important for you. And then what you have then is you have the information now. You've now gathered information that you now can start to set out in a structured way. And that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow, when we actually talk about the blueprint itself. Now, the blueprint can it can be a visual thing, and it can be a written thing, or it can be a combination of both. But that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow. So this was a very quick session. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll talk again this time tomorrow. So stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Bye.